This is the Trade Talk Showcase on Brownfield. I'm Amy Simpson, and we're here today with Mitch Heisler with Wyffels. To start off, tell me a little bit about Wyffels and a little bit about yourself as well.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you, Amy. My name is Mitch Heisler, and so Wyffels Hybrids, we're a seed corn company, still independent, family-owned by the Wyffels family, in our third generation of ownership, and we sell seed corn in Illinois, Iowa, southern Wisconsin, southwest Minnesota, and southeast South Dakota. So really focused in on that geography where we know we have products that work outstandingly, and excited to be growing and working with more and more customers every year.
And harvest is something that's wrapping up or mostly wrapped up in a lot of areas, but let's start talking a little bit about that and what have been some of the key takeaways from this season.
Yeah, I think, in 2020, it certainly had its fair share of variability, even one side of the Corn Belt to the other. I think one thing to kind of take away that we have is you can just really tell it became kind of amplified, any challenges we might have had or any differences in management across one acre to the other really was amplified this year. You can kind of break the Corn Belt in two. If you're in the West in Iowa and Minnesota and South Dakota, there were places there that saw some extreme drought throughout the season. So, if we had anything that sacrificed our root system or compaction or any of those things, that really showed up in those areas that were low on water. And then in the East, we had a challenging spring, very wet spring, that I think we started to see the effects of just some lower ear counts out there that we maybe didn't pick up on. I mean, we knew we had fields that were lower on stand, that we even went back and replanted a lot of those fields. But even some of those that maybe looked okay or were just kind of on the passing line at planting time, those lower ear counts, that ultimately is going to knock a little bit off the top end of our yield. So, we had pretty low disease pressure. I think we were all a little bit surprised with how well these hybrids fought through that dry, hot August, especially the end of August, and anything that was able to hang on until September got there and they caught some rain, a little bit cooler temperatures. I think that's where we really started to see some separation between hybrids and management practices.
And I know each year is different, but how has the season really differed from last year's? Is it better, worse, about the same? What would you say?
Well, I think, you go into every season knowing that you're going to probably learn something new every year. And 2020 was no different. 2019 was no different. The risk is getting too caught up on recency of what happened this year and making too many, hard changes based on just 1 year. And so that's one thing that we've talked a lot about internally with our sales force, with our customers is, especially when you're looking at hybrids or maybe a certain management practice you tried, don't take too much from just what you saw in one field or one situation this year. You really got to kind of broaden your view and look at a wider area because maybe this year more than 2019, you could see vast differences in the growing season just from one county to the other. I mean, even from one side of the county to the other, if they caught an inch of rain in July and August that somebody else didn't, that really changed the perspective they might have on the growing season. So I think that's our biggest takeaway is make sure you kind of broaden out, get a view for what worked, what didn't work, and try to learn from things outside of just, your local area.
Sure. And Wyffels also has a corn rootworm effort. Why is that? And why is that something that's important to protect growers against?
Yeah, it's something we think is very important, and it's an initiative that we've actually had going on for 6 or 7 years now, where we've been monitoring corn rootworm beetles with sticky traps out in the across our geography, and that's important because we're in business to help our customers be successful. Corn rootworm management is a big decision that they have to make every year. And so anything we can do, any information we can bring to help them make that decision, that's something that we think is certainly a worthy effort. And corn rootworm is, we started this initiative back, like I said, 6-7 years ago when there was really high pressure from corn rootworm, and we were trying to make sure we understood that so we don't get in a situation where we're putting a hybrid out there at risk that's not really set up to succeed. And then we've really, transitioned through a time where we've had lower pressure over the last 3 or 4 years. And then 2020 was a little bit different. Honestly, you can kind of break it into two groups. There's, if you were in corn following soybeans or, first year corn, we really didn't see any change in pressure there. And even, in second year corn, we didn't see a big change in our beetle pressure in those situations. So our management practices aren't really changing on those acres. But when you look at continuous corn, 3+ years of corn on corn, we really did see elevated corn rootworm numbers there. And even, some places where we're getting populations that are really challenging some of the management practices that we've done year over year for the last 4 or 5 years on continuous corn. So we're really needing to look at those. And I think what it also tells us is that, this is not an effort this is an effort that we're certainly going to continue because it's more important now than ever to really know in your fields, in your local area, what is the corn rootworm pressure you have. And if you know that, you're going to be better armed to be able to make management decisions. We have a lot of people who are, going into first year corn and sometimes even second year corn using a double pro or maybe a double pro with an insecticide. So they're not paying for the extra trait protection if they don't need it. But we certainly don't want to get in a situation where you're putting yourself at risk. It's all about managing that risk. So we think it's definitely important. And this year we actually launched a little bit of a new initiative on our website where we're posting the results of our monitoring live on our website. So you can go find that on there and see, you can zoom in on the map to your area and see what results we have for your area. So you can kind of fine tune that. It's a very local thing. And so we wanted to make that very easy for people to access.
That's a good spot to ask about. What is that website that people can go check that out?
Yeah, so if you go to Wyffels.com, you'll find information there about our products, certainly about a lot of information relating to managing corn, and we've got a pretty robust agronomic library, as well as the information on corn rootworm that I just mentioned. And then also, for those of you that aren't doing business with Wyffels today, there's a place there where you can type in your zip code and find the local seed representative in your area. And they're really the best resource to know. They keep track of this information kind of very local and specific to them on what hybrids perform well, what's the corn rootworm pressure, what are agronomic topics I need to know about. So they're a great resource that I encourage people to look up and find there on our website.
Great. And switching gears a little bit, I know Wyffels is celebrating a big anniversary. Tell me a little bit about that and, how it's lasted so long and been successful.
Yes, this is something I'm very excited to talk about. So, as you mentioned, 2021 will be our 75th planting season. So we're celebrating our 75th anniversary as a family-owned independent business that's continuing to grow. And we now are, firmly in one of the top 3 brands in the Central Corn Belt. So it's a pretty exciting thing. And we think it's just a testament to our customers and the people that we have involved in our business. I'm very fortunate to work with some outstanding people that are very entrepreneurial and, they're really interested in doing what's right for their customers and, letting common sense be the driver. So I think one thing that I'm very excited about is a lot of the foundational values and what we stand for hasn't changed a lot in those 75 years. We're very focused on what we know we do well. We take that independence seriously, and we make sure that we're providing unbiased resources and really evaluating products and bringing forward products with the best technology to protect the genetic potential that's there. And we're never satisfied. We're always looking for what's new and different out there and making sure that we're bringing the best product to our customers. So it's a great company to work for, and we're certainly excited to continue to grow. We're working with more corn growers today than we ever have, and looks like that's continuing to grow. And we think we've just got a great message, a great product, great people working for our company that corn growers are hungry for and are responding to.
Well, congratulations on that milestone. That's awesome. And that was Mitch Heisler with Wyffels. I'm Amy Simpson with Brownfield Ag News.